Okay guys, I'm having a problem with my mystery snail. You can see there, I'm hoping I can zoom in here, that little brown spot there on the edge of his new growth. And you can see a couple of little brown spots down below that, 3 little brown circles. Well, the big brown spot at the top there is soft. On the left side, it's hard as a rock and totally normal, but on that side where it's brown, it's soft and really pliable. Where you see the 3 black dots below that are tiny frog hair cracks. And I'm thinking maybe some sort of algae or maybe even mold got in there somehow. I'm not sure. I've got some alkaline buffer today at the the fish store. And he basically told me I'm doing everything I can do for him by way of crushed coral, liquid calcium, cuttle bone, calcium in their food. I thought I'd give him an air bath and lay him down here on a bed of spinach. He can snack on some high calcium food while that, I'm hoping, dries out a little bit. I'm going to leave him out for about an hour, and hopefully if that's some sort of fungus that's up underneath his shell, it might have an opportunity to dry out a little bit, maybe, I'm hoping, and kill off whatever might be making him have problems. I thought it was a water hardness problem since I added Indian almond leaf and alder cones. However, it doesn't make sense that it's only one side of his shell that's soft, and it is accompanied by the dark spot. So I'm a bit concerned for my little booga dude. It freaked me out last night when I just pulled him out to check the algae on his body because I noticed the baby shrimp fry were spending a lot of time on him. And I thought he might have been getting some algae growth, so I pulled him out to give him a wipe down. And I always check that front edge to make sure it's good and clean and healthy for him. And that's when I noticed that it was smushy. So we put him on a bed of spinach here. Yeah, I don't know if you have similar problems or have had this problem. Unfortunately, the fella in the fish store and I were talking about how there's more information on how to kill these things than to help them because they are considered pest more than pet. So I'm pretty limited on my access for information on how to help this little guy. But I've noticed Flash, in addition to his big gash in his shell, he's starting to develop, well, he's had a little bit of a brown spot, but it gets better, gets worse, gets better, gets worse, and it's in a better phase right now. But I've been noticing them pop up on Booga, and I thought at first the 3 brown dots right there on the front by his scratches and his cracks were because of the tannins in the almond leaf that were in the water, and it was just stain. But the fact that they're not going away, and particularly now that that front edge is very pliable and brown, gives me a bit of concern for him. So I'm going to give him an air bath for about an hour and see if that helps. And hopefully by then he'll have munched down on some of that yummy spinach. It's weird. My snails, everybody talks about how their snails love the vegetables, and I give them different kinds regularly, but my snails just aren't interested in fresh veggies. It's so weird. I'm not really giving him a choice here. I can actually see he's been out long enough that he is drying up a little bit. I'm going to try to zoom in. Oops, I just moved the bucket. And see, sorry, what might be going on there. I'm not real sure. It's up underneath, so not only can I not get up underneath there and clean it because he pulls, obviously, and retracts into his shell, but I also don't really want to mess with his body being connected to that. If I get in there, start wiping away with something, I might inadvertently dislodge him from his shell, which would break my freaking heart. So we'll see if the air bath helps. But if you guys have seen this, have experienced it, let me know what your solution was, and what, if you at all you discovered what the cause was. Because like I said, I try to keep my water hard, but I can tell by his shell I'm obviously not keeping it hard enough, especially since I've added the pH lower, the almond leaf and the alder cones. So great, appreciate it. Thanks all. That's the spot, and you can see it's underneath, working its way through. It's so hard to get this. There we go. It's underneath his shell. That whole dark spot is soft. Oh, he's about to get off the spinach onto my hand. I gotta do this quick. Ah! Okay, he's wanting to close back up. But maybe we can get that. I don't want him grabbing onto me. My hands aren't wet. He's still trying to grab me. Little booger. Okay, maybe now he can't reach me. Okay, let's take a look. Some of that is slime because, you know, I've been handling him, so he's doing his slimy thing. But you can kind of see he's got real thick growth on the one side there. But then there's that soft spot. That brown spot right there. It's soft and pliable. I don't want to poke it. He is trying to grab me again. You little booger. Alright, I'm going to put him back in the tank because it's been about 45 minutes he's been out. I'll do it again tomorrow. He's grabbing me. That sucker. Alright. Let me know if you guys have seen or heard of any of that. And what you did. Alright, he's got to go back in. So I just put him back in his tank. And baby fry! Hey little baby dude. And you can see on the left side there, he's got something hanging off. Well, I thought it was slime, so I reached in to help dislodge it because it was on that bad spot. And that is actually the blue layer of his shell. That is connected to him. That is his shell. That's a turd. But yeah, that's a shell. And when I tried to pull it, it's actually firmly attached to the hard spot. But that's a soft spot that flaked off when I put him back in the water. So I'm not sure if air bath is good. I'm going to watch him for the rest of the night. And hoping he or those shrimp will eat that shell off. And unfortunately, it is the top layer and it's the blue part, which he can't reproduce. So we'll keep an eye on. I'm going to make the assumption that the air bath worked and maybe made it a little better, because now that I've put him back in his tank, he's actually poking a pretty considerable amount above the water line, which is highly, highly unusual for any of my snails. They will poke just the very tippy top of their edge out and get their breath, but I've been really lucky that I don't have the snails that like climbing on the lid or want to get out. None of them have ever showed any interest in leaving the tank. But it's strange that he's poking out this far. I know it's not unusual for a lot of snails, but I'm telling you, this is really abnormal for mine. And if you look, he's actually got his brown spot. Got a little bit of a glare there, sorry. Let's try to turn, oh, the flash is off. Okay, that's my overhead light. But he's got the brown spot actually sitting out of the tank. So I'm wondering if he figured out that that was good, and now he's going to park on the wall with it stuck out and maybe dry up a little more. I changed the bubble thing, and he always liked bubbles, so I'm kind of hoping that maybe it'll help. Maybe he learned something and he's trying it out for himself. So we'll see. He is officially further out than any snail I've ever had. He's been working that back wall, obviously the one I don't ever clean, so he's got snacks. But he ended up dunking the brown spot in the water underneath over top of the bubbles, and he wasn't retracting, so I'm wondering maybe he was using the bubbles to knock it loose. I don't know. I'm not sure if I should turn the light out or put the lid on and use the lid light, which is weaker, but I'm afraid if I do that, then it's going to trap the humidity, and that's kind of defeating the purpose of letting it dry out. Because I swear to you, I've been sitting here watching him this whole time, and I think he's mimicking an air bath that I just did for him. I think maybe it was good for him, and now he's going to do it for himself. See, he's starting to boogie on now. So, I don't know. He's heading back in the water, looks like, or down the wall. I don't know. It's just, this is really unusual behavior for my snail. I know they come out of the water. I know they do it naturally. But if you've ever owned a mystery snail, I think you probably recognize and realize that they do have little personalities. And like I said, none of mine have ever exhibited any interest whatsoever in going this far above the water line. They just not. But here he is, damn near out of the tank. Well, he was. He hasn't hit this top ledge yet. But he's come up pretty far, farther than any of them ever have. So I'm going to keep an eye on him. I'm debating in my head whether or not to put the lid on. Because the thing is if he is exhibiting interest in coming above the water line, I don't particularly feel confident in leaving the lid off. So I'll watch him for a little bit longer, see what happens. Bub, on the other hand, loves to try to escape when the lid's off. He doesn't hang out above the water line or hang out on the lid or try to make a getaway unless I've got the lid off and I'm cleaning his tank or I'm redoing his garden. Then he's totally interested in trying to escape. But I think part of that is because I've got him sitting next to a plant tank. And I think he wants to get into there. And next to that, we've got, well, there's Aquaman, of course. But we have our pink ram's horn and blue velvet shrimp tank. I don't know if you can see all the way over there. However, I think the only reason there's the 2 baby ram's horns. They're big enough now. The big one there on the right, you can see all his new growth since I've got him. All the white looking shell was from the shop. All that other stuff is new growth. But that one on the right has already started breeding with my mother pink ram's horn that was a hitchhiker and some duckweed I bought a couple months back. So yeah, I don't think Bub ever wants to escape for the sake of escaping. I just merely think he's just trying to get into another tank to murder somebody. Because that's what Bub does. Bub's a killer. This little tank, couldn't believe it. It's a top fin I got at PetSmart for $10. And it's that big. You can kind of see how big it is. It's pretty small. You know, there's my hand on it. It's pretty small. $45 was the original price. And all I have to say to Top Fin is y'all are fucking high to charge $45 for a plexiglass cube that's this small. And those little terracotta pots, the 2 on the left, the one holding the banana plant and the melting plant, is the smallest that they make. Well, that I have access to. So, yeah, that's how small that tank is. $45 was the original price. And they were priced for $10 to move, said the sign. Yeah, because you can't sell the fucking things for $45. You people are crazy. So, yeah. Here's our Bub. He's up at the top there. He now has 3 cherry shrimp in there with him. So I think he missed Chester. Rest in peace, little Chester dude. And I got lucky because 3 of the cherry shrimp that I bought at the Petco the other day, turn this sideways, are buried. So, yay me. I've had my first shrimp fry born, and for about 2 weeks I thought I only had 3 because I did too big of a water change. I lost some shrimp and I thought for sure I'd lost the majority of the babies. I had only had 1 buried female, so they're all from her. And a few days ago I came in here and I started counting and I discovered 6 baby shrimp fry. And then a day after that I came out and counted again, and because there was more, and I'm up to 9 now baby shrimp fry. So, yay me. More to come because there are 2 buried females in that tank right now, and 1 has her saddle up, so she's ready. And if we can come, I'm going to spin this camera again. We got, sorry for the dome light. That's awful. Well, the point is, you can kind of see him in there. That's Puff Daddy. That's where they all hang out. That level to the water line. You can kind of see he's just under the water line. That's where my dudes hang out. There, or like Flash down here at the bottom. Propped up on their end because they're just so cute. They just love to sleep like that. And you can actually kind of see, hang on, my step stool's in the way here. You can actually kind of see, sorry, the thick growth that he's got going on his shell right there. And I think that's because he's packing it on, trying to seal that hole from the damage he's got on the top. And that's what I'm seeing him rasp at, is I think he's trying to thin that thick-ass shell out so he can poke his head out while he's trying. You can see the gouge. Pull back a little. You can see the gouge in his shell, and that's what he's trying to repair. Let's see if I can get it with my finger here. Sorry. Where's my finger? The gouge is right up in here. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, he's got real thick shell going on, and I think that's what Booga's doing too. But Booga's having more problem. And you can kind of see he's still, excuse me, he's still a little above water. Not as much as he was, and he does have that brown portion in the water now. But now it just kind of looks like he's feeding on the algae line. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on and turn this dome light off. Let them rest a little bit. That's something that I've noticed too, is I've got obviously the cheap lid, LED light lid thing that it comes with a tank, because it was a whole kit. However, I hang one of those silver dome lights over the top when I pull the lid off at night to give the plants a nice good burst of light. And it seems like the baby shrimp like the dome light better. I'm not sure. I'm just learning about shrimp, so I don't know what they like, don't like, stimulate. I'm figuring it all out. And thanks to you guys on YouTube, I'm learning a lot. But I've noticed that when the dome light's on, they all want to come out. But if the LED light's on, they don't come out in droves in all of them. Maybe one or two. The biggest one, let's see if you can see him. He's obviously the big fat eater because he's the biggest. There he is. Looks like he's getting ready to molt. See if we can get him here. There he is. He's the biggest baby right now. There goes another one in this spinach. There's my hand. Hi. Yeah, I don't have my tripod up. This was totally improv. So, yeah. Wish me luck with my booga. And comment if you have any suggestions or ideas of what might be going on with him. Thanks, guys.